Hello and welcome to another episode of the Construction Corner podcast. I'm Dylan. I'm your host. And today, guys, it's just going to be me. There's a few things that I want to discuss today, one of which is recruiting, another is personal development, and the last one is taking care of your clients. So, recruiting, personal development, and clients. Those are the three big topics that we're going to talk about today. So, with recruiting, you've got to get good people. And the way that they're going to stay and the way that it's been talked about in all the podcasts that we've done is you got to have a roadmap, growth trajectory. And we'll be talking more about this next week, where we have an awesome guest to come on who's going to talk about career development, working for billion-dollar companies, and just how incredible it is to have those opportunities to work on iconic projects, but more importantly, companies that invest in your growth, that are there for you to develop, get better, improve your skill set. And a lot of this only happens if you're going to develop yourself. So, in again, recruiting goes through basically the career paths that you as a firm offer, the benefits, the culture, the core values, right? Everything like that, pay, being competitive, all those things go into recruiting talent. They stay because of the opportunities, the career development, the care for them and who they are as a person, and improving basically their lives, right? They won't want to go anywhere because they're happy. And the happier you can make people, more they're going to want to stay. It's that simple, honestly. Um, in personal development, we talk a lot about personal development here. Obviously, I've been a big proponent of personal development. And if you watch the video version of this, you can see the incredible bookshelves, three of them that I have full. And there's actually another stack of books on the floor that I need to get another bookshelf for, that I'll fill up also very quickly. So, personal development has been huge for me in my life, in reading, taking notes as I read, implementing those notes into my life, and really my thought patterns, right? How I think about a thing, and to really not just take what I read at face value, but to do a little more digging, figure out the context and how it applies to my life, why this is important, why it should matter, and be able to actually implement that into the way that I live my daily life. It's a huge deal to not just read a book to read a book, but to take the lessons, implement those, and it's going to take a lot of repetition, right? That's how you're going to have to um, implement those strategies that you read within those books, right? It's going to take some time. It's going to take longer than you think, and it's just going to take a lot of going through, making sure that you're doing exactly what you set out to do, and living by those core tenets. So, in personal development, it's everything that you do outside of working hours. And I think this doesn't get pushed far enough, right? During your work day, you have a lot of things to do, right? You have the tasks assigned to you by the firm. And then your growth, your personal development, your reading time is going to come outside of working hours. So I think it's really important that we um, take that time to read, to develop ourselves, to listen to podcasts, and to think deeply about those topics. This is not something that you're going to do in a passing moment. It's something that you're going to commit to, and continue to improve and develop yourself as time goes on, right? It's not just reading a book once, it's reading it, taking the lessons, extracting them out, taking notes, and really thinking about that book, the context, what it means. And that's hugely important to your own personal development. And the last thing that I want to quickly talk about, I know this is going to be a shorter podcast here today, but is in clients. So, in a lot of the conversations that I've had here recently, not only with podcast guests, but with our clients in general, and prospects that we're talking to, and other people that we're working with in different organizations, is just how important the personal touches are to you, your business, to getting things done, right? In construction, we're a total people industry. We deal with people daily, right? Whether it's on a job site, and in my world, in the engineering and planning meetings, in figuring out and pulling details out of clients and what they're going to put into their facilities, what's going on in those facilities, what equipment they're going to put in. All those things really have a deep impact as to the construction process, to how smoothly a project goes, to how well it's being run. And I think these are all things that we need to really understand and get through, so that we can, again, put a better project together. The clients can have a better experience. And this ultimately comes down to communication. Like, all of this comes down to clear, concise communication, clear cadence of communication, letting people know when they need to be there, why they need to do it, what they're going to be doing. All those, right? The why, what, when, where, how. Those are all great questions to ask, to answer, and to be clear in all the communication that you do with folks. For example, here recently, I had a project that we're looking at where in the RFP for this facility, 1 million square foot manufacturing facility, in one instance of RFPs that we have. I actually have 2 million square foot facilities on my desk right now. In one, it's a very clear RFP. They're very clear in the things that they want in this building. They're very clear about their, for me, electrical usage, what they're going to put in here. They know their HVAC loads. They know what's going to go in the facility, and they have a very good understanding of everything that's going to go into that project. In another RFP, they are so vague to the point of us not having enough information to size services or really give them what they will ultimately need for the project. And while in some cases that might be okay, in others, when you're too vague, it is going to handicap you down the road. And when you're not willing to have dialogue or communication, granted it's an RFP process, so I very much understand some of this, is it's going to handicap you in wanting to expand or to giving proper pricing for a project, all because you wanted to withhold too much information or not dig too deeply with the client to figure out their actual needs for the building. And then you're not going to put in the right infrastructure to give them ultimately what they want to be able to do within that facility. So being clear in your communication has a lot of impact. Some aren't going to be seen today, right? In the case of this RFP, this is going to be something that's going to be seen years down the road. And at that point, it'll be pretty unfortunate for a client that doesn't have enough power to expand at that facility that they were maybe planning on expanding into. So for a lot of these things, it's just a good idea to, again, be clear, be thorough. And something that I've been guilty of in the past is maybe shooting off an email or making a call before you've clearly thought through the entire process, the project, where you've outlined all of your questions for the project and really just not wasted other people's time. So as you're working through things, like, write it down, take a few minutes to jot some notes down, to be clear in what your expectations for the project are, what questions that you actually have, what questions aren't going to be that important right down the road. And this is going to be something that you're going to really appreciate, and everybody else around you is going to appreciate in your thoroughness for that. And again, the same thing goes in recruiting, right? Being clear in the job descriptions, being clear in pay, being clear in the duties, roles, responsibilities for that position, being clear in benefits. What do they get for benefits? What are those benefits? How do they get those benefits? All that is super important, right? Their career path and trajectory. What is their next level that they need to reach, or what do they need to do to reach the next level within this position? Same thing in personal development, right? Making notes, being clear as to what you want to achieve and get out of a book. Why are you picking up that book in particular? Is there something that you want to get out of it more than anything else? there's a lot of books on the shelf behind me that, I've read and got some things out of. There's others that I went into it for a specific purpose, right? Some, like some of the biographies that I've read, I just wanted to get more insight as to how some of the titans of industry thought, like JP Morgan or Cornelius Vanderbilt. Like I really wanted to understand how they thought, how they went after a problem, how they attacked it. And those are things that, I wanted to pull out, is to how these guys built such big businesses, and just glean any insight that I could. Others, like sales or marketing books, right? I'm looking for very specific tactics and things that I want to implement. So I take very specific notes on those. I go and implement them as soon as I can. And that has helped me tremendously, right? And moving down the path, right? And then for clients, again, being just very clear in expectations, questions, and getting answers that you need to do your job. So in construction, we typically have a lot of questions and we need answers to those. So at the end of the day, it's making sure that we have the answers we need, but we've clearly thought through all the questions for that project and done that without too much interruption to our clients. Again, their time is valuable, our time is valuable, and we need to treat it as such. So guys, quick little hitter today for a podcast. But again, this all comes down to communication, to be clear with your clients, your people, either inside or out. So without further ado, that's this episode of the Construction Corner podcast. Until next time.